council of bishops, which these are all women would be following regarding the Trump administration, President Trump's term. They're not very favorable.
That may well be. Again, that doesn't refute what I said, and I was the one who said it, that socially speaking, on socially conservative viewpoints, that's where you'll find a lot of those. Now, how they feel about government intervention in the economy or a host of other issues, I wouldn't know, but I'm the one who said it, and I just restated exactly what I had to say. Now, it would not surprise me that a black organization, and of course the AMA Church tends to be heavily African-American, it wouldn't surprise me, Bruce Eberly, that they may have come out with such a statement. Your thoughts?
That's quite possible because totally like any other church, whether it's white or black, it depends on that. There's quite a division sometimes between the parishioners and the official church body. So, it's just, I think your observation is probably correct in that, and this is what Vernon would also say. He would also add, I think, if he were here, he would say that it depends again on the black church. But nevertheless, there's no doubt that the black church is the heart of the black community.
1-866-50-JIMBO, 1-866-505-4626. Here is Joe in Cleveland.
How you doing, Jim?
We're fine, thank you.
Yes, and how you doing with your guest?
We're both well. Go ahead.
Thank you. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, Jim. I want to get in on the conversation that you're having this evening.
Okay.
And the conversation about, what Trump has done since being made president, right. Elected president.
Right.
Just like George Bush, Trump came in at a serious advantage. Yes, he did. He came in on a very, very, very good upswing for the economy, and it even shows today, if you look at the records, that Trump has produced less jobs in his 3 years versus the last 3 years of Obama. Now, I personally hate that we have to go through comparisons,
Well, comparisons are the basis for making a rational decision.
Well, sometimes, but I think what goes on is comparisons that are not 100% factual, that are repeated, people actually start to believe it. And the thing of it is that what Trump has done, has given a lot of money away to the upper echelon. And the people that needed the money didn't get it. And when you talk about the tax breaks that supposedly we got, only thing we received, the masses, was a bonus from a job or whatever that you had to pay almost 50% tax on it. And,
first of all, there are very few people who are working for a salary who are in a 50% tax bracket. And if you are in a 50% tax bracket, you're not hurting.
That. No, I didn't say that, Jim. I said the bonus that they received right after the tax break. The bonus that the hourly workers receive.
Very few hourly workers are ever in a 50% tax bracket, but whatever.
I didn't say that they're in a 50% tax bracket. I said the bonus check that they received was taxed at about 50%.
Really? Well, I will defer to our guest in that regard. I've never heard of 50% is a pretty severely high tax bracket, but I'll defer to Bruce Eberly. Of course, this is what Barack Obama's been saying, that he in fact had a better hand in jump-starting the economy than Donald Trump had. So your take.
Well, I would just say as a businessman that or a salaried person, that if you get a bonus, it's still taxed at the same rate as your annual salary.
That's certainly what I thought.
Yeah, it shouldn't change any on that front. And I would say that as far as talking about funds, I heard Larry Kudlow this morning say that the top 0.25% has received an increase in their wages of about 3%, and the bottom quarter has received an increase in their wages of 4.5%. And not only that, we haven't closed the wage gap, and I think that's a big issue. And the reason we haven't closed it is because we have lots of really poor, underperforming schools in poor black communities. And as Ben Carson says, you can't escape poverty and be successful unless you have both character and a good education. And as long as the Democrats and the liberals keep blocking choice schools in the inner cities and keep black Americans from having high-quality schools, they'll never be able to close that wage gap.
And for the record, these are the tax brackets now in effect: 10, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, and 37%. Those are the brackets. There is no 50% tax bracket, even for bonuses. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to the Jim Bohannon Show at 1-866-50-JIMBO, 1-866-505-4626. All right, next up is a call from Steve in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact. You going to be caucusing, Steve, or not?
Hi, Jimbo.
Hi.
This is a tremendous subject, and the first thing I want to point out is the inner cities in general throughout the country have been in horrible conditions for about 40 years, and that the ruling governments in pretty much all of them have been Democrats. Now, if you watch The Wire, which is one of the greatest pieces of TV program that I think, it shows an interconnection between the drug dealers, the police, the judiciary, and the government. And the ruling elites in all the cities, which are generally blacks, they prosper and they live a good life. The drug dealers who have immense amount of money buy real estate properties and build stuff, and they need to get licenses, of course, and there is corruption. And, of course, the point about the schools, which has frustrated me so much, and my mother was a teacher, that the Democrats have cut the throat of the black community by stopping school choice, and that I can't understand all these years why African Americans have not realized this.
Well, let our guests respond to that. Certainly school choice is a major factor. Obviously, the reason why they don't is because they count the teachers' unions as a key part of their constituency. But that doesn't certainly answer the frustration of a person like Steve, or for that matter, me, Bruce Eberly.
Well, it's interesting. Ron DeSantis, when he ran for governor, he ran against, I can't think of the name of his black opponent, who's a Democrat. And according to the numbers that came out after the election, approximately 100,000 black women voted for DeSantis because they wanted to preserve school choice, and his opponent wanted to eliminate it.
This in Florida, for those who don't know.
Yes, I'm sorry. And so there is an awakening and awareness, and the polls all show that black Americans in different percentages in different parts of the country, up to 90% in some places in the South, support school choice, because school choice is the pathway out and to a good life. And but it's always opposed, and I think it's opposed for two reasons. Like you said, the Democrats basically are bought off by the NEA, but it's more than that. They're concerned about what our children are taught, and so they don't like school choice, but because it takes it out of their realm of control. But nevertheless, school choice is a great avenue for being able to break the bond of poverty and to escape into the middle class, if not better.
Here's Gary in Marianna, Florida. Good evening, Gary.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm actually from Las Vegas, but I'm in Marianna, Florida, because I'm an over-the-road truck driver.
Well, okay.
But anyway, before I say what I wanted to say, I wanted to make a comment on the caller talking about taxes. And I don't think he explained it correctly, because the bonuses that people receive were not equivalent to what the man usually grosses per week. So if he grossed, say, $800 a week and is taxed at 12% and then gets a $4,000 bonus, that $4,000 bonus was probably taxed at 22 or 24%, which is the 50% increase he was talking about.
Oh, 50% increase. Well, that whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, because I make a different amount of money every week, so I'm
all right.
Taxed every week. I'm in a different tax bracket because it depends on how much I earn every week. Depends on how much my employer taxes my paycheck every week. Anywho, I want to talk about your guest. Typically the Republican Party receives about 3% of the black vote.
Well, a little higher than that, but it's minuscule. I would say
maybe
7 or 8. 7 or 8, maybe.
If he's going to get 15 or 20 or 25% of the black vote, you're living in a pipe dream.
Well, not necessarily. How do you explain the job approval numbers up in the 30s? I mean, that's the thing. Nobody knows exactly how that will translate into votes, but it's hard to imagine that all those people approve of his job as president, and then they're going to suddenly not vote for him. I mean, that's the big question of this campaign, I think, is how many of them are not.
He's not getting 30% of the black approval rating.
Pardon?
I mean, he's not getting 30% of the black people.
Oh, yes. In several polls, yes, he is. Presidential approval numbers, yes, that's what we were citing among black voters, yes.
Well, Barack Obama came into office with double-digit unemployment, and the country turned upside down. And it took him 7.5 years to get the unemployment rate down to 5% by the time he left office. I mean, in 3 years, Trump has only knocked it down to 3.5%.
Which record lows in many cases, and all-time record lows, in fact, for members of the minority community. I mean, it's always harder to knock off the last few percentage points. I mean, you can argue all you want about jobs created, but the fact is that the record levels that have been reached among the minority communities, Bruce Eberle, that's impressive. And again, you can argue about who takes credit for it, but it happened on President Trump's watch, and again, it's continued under his watch. So that I have to think translates into political capital.
Yeah, exactly right. You can argue till you're blue in your face that the previous president was the responsible, or that you would set up the table for him. But the person who always gets credit is the guy who's in office at that point in time. So it really doesn't make any difference. Another really important thing, though, when you talk about people who are doing manual labor or something like that, Obama, as you recall, said that those manufacturing jobs aren't coming back. Well, 700,000 manufacturing jobs have come back. And that has been very important, again, because it is truly what they say it is. It's a blue-collar recovery. And it has been very good for minorities at record lows, including, by the way, women are also at record lows for unemployment. And wages rising. And wages did not rise under Obama at all.
So, again, what the percentage will be is hard to say at this juncture. But, again, we've not seen that kind of approval numbers from the black community before for a Republican. So how that translates into votes, to say that he could get well into the teens, I don't know that that's a pipe dream necessarily. I think at this juncture, that's one of the big questions of the year. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Jim Bohannon Show, 1-866-50-JIMBO, 1-866-505-4626, and this is Ed in Atlantic City.